and welcome back to my channel. My name is Morgan.eelisee, and if you are new, welcome. Today is Saturday, May 31st, and I decided why not officially tell you guys how I moved to Tokyo. So I do want to start off by saying that I'm pretty sure this is not an original experience. Everyone and their mom who has moved to Japan has probably done the exact same thing that I'm about to tell you. So there are many other content creators and many other YouTube videos and TikToks on how to move to Japan, so nothing I'm about to say is probably new information, but I still wanted to share my experience anyways so without further ado, this is how I moved to Tokyo, Japan with animals and quit my full-time job of 5 years. So first, I want to give a little backstory is that when I was in America, I had a full-time job in, let's just say, insurance. And I worked at the job for 5 years, and in those 5 years, I was extremely unhappy. The only time that I was actually happy was when I was not working, which I get it, that's life, that's everyday life, you know, I'm not the only one who experiences that, and I didn't accept that for myself, and I wasn't going to accept that for myself, so I thought of how I could get myself out of that, which I did try to look for jobs in my state, outside of my state, and if you know anything about the hiring pool in America right now, it's actually trash, so I wasn't able to get another job anywhere else, and I just felt stuck. And one day I actually just woke up and thought, why not move to Japan? And it was Japan specifically. It wasn't even a why not move out of the country. It was why not move to Japan. And I'm not sure what possessed me to pick Japan, but it was something. So the first thing that I did in order to move to Japan was do research on the type of visa that would fit me and my situation. So there are many types of visas. There is the working visa, the working holiday visa, there's the student visa. I know there's visas if you have a spouse or a child that is a Japanese national. I think it's the highly skilled visa, where if you have a specific skills, I feel like, you know, something like agriculture, there's visas for that type of thing too. There's a startup visa, which I believe is fairly new. I'm not entirely sure, but there is a startup visa. And there are other visas for like diplomatic reasons. And like I said, based on my situation, it was either going to be the working visa or a student visa. And in Japan, they are still very bachelor degree focused. And I currently still do not have my bachelor's degree. I have a associate's degree, but I do not yet have my bachelor's because education in the United States is extremely expensive, and I was not willing to sell my soul in order to go to university in America, and that is what led me to look into the student visa in Japan. So you can either go to a university or a college in Japan, or you can go to a Japanese language school. At the same time that I was looking up student visas and how to start that process, the cat distribution system done got me, and I couldn't say no. So I adopted 2 cats, and that is very important because that does put a bump in the road on moving to Japan specifically. I don't know about any other countries, but I know about Japan, and importing animals into Japan is a very difficult process that I wished more people would talk about, and I'm probably going to make this into a 2-part video and explain how to import your animals to Japan, because I wish someone would have done that because it would have saved me a lot of trouble. I did apply to Waseda, but I was not accepted, so then I did end up applying to a Japanese language school through a company called Gogo Nihon. And if you are unfamiliar, Gogo Nihon is a company that does help foreigners connect with universities and Japanese language schools in Japan. They do a lot of the bulk work, a lot of the behind the scenes work, as in helping you get the visa, reaching out to the Japanese government on their end. So if you are interested in going to a Japanese language school or anything like that, I just highly recommend using Gogo Nihon. Hashtag not sponsored. If you want to sponsor me though, that'd be great. I was finally accepted into a Japanese language school. That was my first choice. Actually, it was the only Japanese language school I applied to. So then I was like, okay, let me start the process of getting my cats ready because I'm accepted. Now I'm ready, now I need to get them ready. So this is where the bump in the road kind of started to present itself. Was basically one of the first steps to bring your animals to Japan is have them microchipped and then have them vaccinated for rabies. The issue was they have to be in that order. They have to be microchipped first, and then they have to be vaccinated for rabies. My cats, when I adopted them, they were vaccinated first, and then they were microchipped. That is unacceptable. In order to bring them into Japan, they have to do exactly the order of operations that they give you. You cannot detour. You have to follow the rules exactly on how they're presented. Otherwise, your animals will be denied entry or sent back to America without you. And for a second, I thought, would I have to rehome my animals? But then I was like, no, I'm gonna figure this out. I figured it out, and here we are. Another one of the steps to bring your animals into Japan is that they have to quarantine for 6 months. And since when I adopted them, step 1 was already messed up, and we had to start over from scratch. That pushed the 6-month quarantine back, which means I wouldn't have been able to start school at the term that I was supposed to start school. So my only options were to push back my start date or just not go at all, and that wasn't happening. So I just decided to push back my start date for going to Japanese language school, which I am lucky that my school let me do that. I had to cancel my first application, then reapply with the exact same information in my first application, and they let me do that. And it was kind of like, hey, we were gonna let you do it this time, but if something comes up again the next time, they might not have accepted me again for like a third time. I hadn't heard back from the school or the embassy yet, because once you're approved, all of your information then gets sent to the Japanese government and the Japanese embassy, and from that point, you don't really hear anything. It's just crickets. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna use this time to find accommodation. I found my realtor through a YouTuber on here. Her name is Sunday Love. She has lived in Japan for like years now, which thank you so much, girl. She is the queen of non-gatekeeping. I have listed it on my YouTube channel before. I believe it is Wagaya.jp, I think. But I talked to many realtors, and that was just the one that ended up helping me the most in the end. They were able to find me an apartment because not only am I a foreigner, not only am I a student, because you can get denied an apartment just for being a student, and not only do I have pets, but I have 2 pets. And I think in Japan it may be more common to have 1 pet. I'm not entirely sure if that's true. I'm just kind of going off the information that I heard online and from my realtor, is that it's more difficult to find an apartment when you have more than 1 pet. So all the odds were literally truly stacked against me, but my realtor was able to find me an apartment, which I'm currently in, and I feel like I'm so lucky. So thank you to her, thank you Elena, for helping me find an apartment in Japan. But one thing about finding apartments in Japan is that you don't start looking and applying until 1 month before you're actually ready to move. It was probably a little after halfway into March that I officially had an apartment, so it was getting really stressful. Finally, I decided on this apartment. I did have a couple choices from a couple different realtor companies, but I decided on this one because I feel like this one fit me the most. Because if you don't know, in Japan, the way they determine their apartments are by rooms. So you can have a 1R, which I believe is just a studio apartment where your bed and your refrigerator are kissing. You could have a 1DK, which is a 1 room, a dining room, and a kitchen, or like a 1LDK, which is 1 room, a living room, a dining room, and a kitchen. I believe mine is a 1DK. I feel very lucky that my realtor was able to find me this, because like I said, I feel like all odds are stacked against me, a student, a foreigner, and two cats. But luckily, it felt like at the last minute, she got me an apartment and I put a roof over my kids' heads. So then at that point, it was kind of, you're ready to go. I was ready to move to Japan. I literally had to get rid of so many things that I wanted. I put a bunch of stuff in storage that I wanted to be shipped to me. I packed up a couple suitcases. I moved out of my apartment and moved to Japan. I don't think anything in this video made sense. I feel like I'm leaving a lot of things out, to be honest, because it's been 2 months already that I've been living in Japan, and I don't remember anything, to be quite honest. I don't know. I don't remember a bunch of the stuff. I should have probably written this down, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. Like I said, I'm probably going to make this into a 2-part video on how to bring animals into Japan. So yeah, if you have any questions, if you want to know anything specifically, let me know and I'll try to answer them the best that I can. I will probably leave any resources that I've mentioned in this video down in the description. That is basically the gist of how I moved to Japan. All right, y'all, bye.